Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drawing with Paolo. Today we're going to draw Scrat. And so here's Scrat's head. And then we're going to add a big beak here. Well, we're going to start by drawing a little duck. And this is how you get to learn how to draw Scrat really easily. So this is the duck's head right like here. And then the duck's neck down this way. And goes into a really round body at the bottom like this. Circular shape into the neck. And there's our duck. And with this duck, it sort of is the beginning of Scrat. But to this duck, what we're going to add is a big tail, and this is Scrat's tail. Really loosely, we're going to draw in a tail back here, sort of like that, with a little point flexing towards his back and towards away from us. And then we're going to add Scrat's main details, like really big eyes. So big circles for his eyes, like this, really round. And then we're going to add rounded out triangles for his ears, here on the left side as well, nice pointed ears. And then we're going to add a little nose right over here with a little bit of a nostril on this side. And we can barely see the one on the other side, so just a little loop like this. Alright, and then we're going to draw the bottom of the lip over here. So a little bit of a curve. And then this line is a lot thinner than the actual beak that we drew before. There we go. So his snout is really thin and long. So there's a little bump here in the middle. And then we can erase all of these foundation lines. Let's get rid of those. We don't need those anymore. All right, so let's draw his thigh. So his leg is sort of bent. He's leaning on the ground here. And we'll draw really long triangles for his feet to begin with, just so that we can position it in space. Sort of like that, attached to the back of his bum there. And then we're going to draw the other legs. So because it's a 3/4 drawing, we need to draw this one a little bit farther out, just like this. Then we can get rid of this line back here. All right, now we're going to draw his arms. So let's draw a vertical line, another one next to it, his elbow, and then diagonal lines coming from that elbow like this. Then we can get rid of the stuff inside there in a few seconds. So I'm just going to curve this out a little bit more, and then all this stuff here, we can erase that. These things too here, let's clean up the eyes. All right, let's concentrate on the eyes a little bit more. So we're going to work on his right eye here. He's got eyelids on top of his eyes like everybody else does, but they're very visible and they're thick. They're thick eyelids, and so we need to make that sort of skin look on top of these eyelids. So I'm just going to retrace these outer line here, this outer line, and then with my paper technique to protect my drawing, I'm going to add the pupil inside there, or the iris first. There's the iris. Well, these, everything's black, so we're just going to color all of that in. But let's remember to leave a little bit of a shine there. So that little white dot there has a shine. And then it's sort of like elephant skin around his eyes. So let's try to draw that. And I'm just going to draw the thickness down here, add a little bit of a fold so it looks like it's really thick skin over his eyeball. Sort of like this. All right. And we're going to add a little bit more lines over here, sort of like this, to give it more thickness, more foldiness to his eyeball there. So we're going to thin out his head a little bit here. This, and give him a bit of hair on the nose. Now, if you've been watching me for a bit, you know how to draw hair now. We've done so many animals. That hair is the same everywhere we draw. I'm not too pleased with this left eye here, so we're going to erase that. We'll get rid of that because I forgot to draw the thickness of his eyelid. So we're going to have to draw that on top. So we're going to curve this down and come back. So here's his eyelid, and then this little circle here, this is where his eye is. So this is where his eyelid should be at. And that's what we forgot to draw in the first time around. And we're going to draw his iris again in there and then color that stuff in. But don't forget the reflection. Awesome. Here we go. We're going to add a few fold lines here. Remember that elephant skin kind of effect. That's what we want to give it. And then we're going to draw his mouth line here a little bit more with a little bit of a curve at the end. Like that, sort of like a little smile, right? I'm going to add a bit of hair technique here to his nose. And we're going to redraw his ear a little bit shorter. His left ear is shorter. And we're going to erase that stuff on top of it. Oop, I need to retrace that line here. There we go. And don't be afraid to erase stuff that you're not happy with. That's okay. But don't erase completed drawings. You can erase parts of drawings, but you want to make sure that you keep your completed drawings. Don't throw them out. Use them as reference for your next drawings. That's important to get better. And we're going to now concentrate on the nose here. We're going to retrace the outline of the nose, just like that. And then we're going to color in that whole section, that whole nose section here. All right, so this is Scrat from Ice Age, and I think they're at Ice Age 3, but that's now talking in 2013. Now, if you're watching this video in 2045, maybe we're at, Ice Age 54. I'm not sure exactly, but just to say that this is the 2012 version of Scrat. Who knows what he looks like in the future, really? Maybe he's a grandpa by then. Hello to all of you in 2045. Now, let's get rid of these lines here. And we're going to add his main feature in a few seconds. But first, we're going to draw a little circular shape here, which will keep that part sort of whitish. And we're going to color in the rest here, a light shade, because Scrat isn't very dark. And just color that in really lightly. And we'll make it darker here underneath his nose, because his nose is casting a shadow onto his snout there. Sort of like this. And then we're going to give him his main feature, my preferred part, his long teeth. Now I'm going to exaggerate his teeth a little bit, because I think he should really have really long teeth. And you can make them shorter if you like. You can make them real size. Now make sure that this second tooth here, this left tooth, is a little bit shorter, because you can see here it's a little shorter. We want foreshortening to happen there. So it needs to look like it's deeper in the page. So that second tooth has to be a little bit shorter. That's if you're trying to draw something more realistic. And then I'm going to color this tooth, but at the top of the tooth has to be a little bit darker, because the snout is producing a shadow on that tooth. And the far end at the pointed tip, that part is whiter. All right, there you go. So now we're going to draw the three little teeth, sort of like crocodile teeth here on the side of his mouth. Sort of like a cross between a crocodile and a saber-toothed tiger and a squirrel. This little Scrat guy here. We're going to draw his underlip really thin. It's going to reduce the size of his head a little bit, but that's how he is. He's got this really thin nose, and we're going to erase this line. We don't need that anymore. All right, retrace those teeth a little bit more. And then we're going to draw his neckline here, which goes into his body, sort of like with a curve, down to here. And we can't draw his belly because we're going to draw that nut he carries around all the time. So here's his ear, and we're going to draw the contour and the thickness, sort of like this, and then a little circle inside there, which we're going to color nice and black. Okay, this has to be nice and dark in there. All right, let's color this part in nice and dark. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, so how long have you been drawing? How, like, you're really good. How do I get as good as you? Well, there's nothing that beats practice. You have to practice over and over and over again to get brilliant at drawing. And you also have to share your drawings. Give your drawings out, make gifts of them, and then people will tell you what they think of them, and that's really good feedback to get better at it. We're going to erase a little bit of a line here and give it a little bit of a reflection inside that ear. Light reflection there. And now we're going to work on the back of his neck. Got a bit of hair here. His hair is really short, so we need to use short strokes. And then we're going to color the underside of his lip here. So we're going to retrace this line right here, and then underneath there we're going to color that in a little bit darker. I like to work from top to bottom, and because I'm right-handed, from left to right. And the reason why I work in that order is because I don't want to smudge my drawing, or smudge it the least amount possible. And that's why I'm using this paper technique. This little sheet of paper helps me not to smudge. Let's draw his nut here. So this is the top of the nut. And with a little wedge here, not the wedge, but the little hook at the top that keeps it latched onto a tree. And it's really like a fish hook or a question mark with a bunch of bends in it. We're going to color this nice and dark. And add a bit of shadowing over here and over here. All this nice and black. And a little bit here on the right side. And then we're going to draw the underside of this shape here. Just a little bit of a curve. I think that's a bit too thin. We're going to go a bit thicker. So just like that. There you go. And this line, we can get rid of that. See? So as I was saying earlier, because I'm right-handed, I like drawing from top to bottom and left to right. If you're left-handed, for you lefties out there, you want to draw from top to bottom as well, but from right to left. And the reason why we do that, the reason why we draw in a specific direction, is not to smudge our drawing. If we're working our way away from our body, for example, where we're always going to be smudging our drawing because our arm is on top of it and our hand is on top of it, and we keep moving the pencil lines around by smudging the drawing constantly. And so that's why you want to make sure that you're drawing towards your body all the time, from top to bottom and left to right if you're right-handed, or right to left if you're left-handed. Let's get rid of all these foundation lines. We're going to work on Scrat's back here. So we're going to add a little bit longer hair on his back here. Sort of like our wolf, Scrat has longer hair on the back there. And if you want to check out that wolf video, go to my YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of videos there, a lot of them. And I'm getting a lot of requests as far as stuff I've already drawn. So, you know, you can search my stuff out in YouTube, but if you go to my YouTube channel, you see a lot more stuff there. And it'll be a lot more logical because all my videos are in that place. So we're going to add a bit of shadow here underneath his eyeball. Make this nice and dark. And it'll build into his belly here, which is going to be nice and dark under there too. And we're going to darken his lip here just a little bit because we're losing that line. There we go. Awesome. Now the next step is we're going to add some hairlines onto his neck here to make this just a little bit darker on the right back of his ear, right back there. Make this all nice and dark. And then these hairlines will be just a little bit lighter and shorter, because remember that at the top of his head, his hair is a little bit shorter, and as we work our way down, the hair builds up and gets a little bit thicker. And I like drawing in layers, right? So if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you know that drawing in layers is a really good technique in building in reality or realism to our drawing. So what you like to do is start with a few strokes and then get back on top of those strokes and build in layers of pencil marks. And that's how we create real hair, for example. Or later on, what we're going to do is add some detail to our nut here. And so we're going to build that in layers as well. So let's add some nails here to our little Scrat guy. Just like that. Fingers all around. Adding a few more bumps and lines there. For some people, fingers are difficult to draw, so if you want to learn how to draw finger or hands, go check out my Drawing with Paolo, Drawing a Hand video. It's on my YouTube channel, so check it out. All you need to do is click my name. Click on my name just above my video. It's a blue Paolo Morrone. Give that a click and you'll end up on my YouTube channel. You'll see all the videos I've made for you guys to learn to draw. And that's how I share my drawings. I've told you earlier that you can share your drawings with people and get their feedback. Well, I share my drawings with you guys so that you get to learn how to draw as well. I'm going to draw a line here that represents the shadow that Scrat's head is making on his favorite food here. And then we're going to add details, sort of like fish pattern, if you like. The fish scales all the way around here. And that's the first layer. And the second layer then is coloring in between those fish scales. But first what we're going to do is draw the outline here a little bit darker. Come right into the body. And then we're going to color in between those fish scales, making it a little bit darker. Okay, so every one of these upside down U's, or no, they're proper sided U's. Everywhere between these U's, we're going to add a nice dark line. And I'm going to speed that up because, of course, I'm sure you're going to get bored by watching me draw this constantly. So we're going to accelerate this drawing a little bit, but I'm going to go through every one of these little U's, making them darker and coloring where, where they touch each other. Color that in totally a little bit darker. I don't want paper color. I need it to make this whole element a little bit darker. Let's speed this up. It's sort of boring. Then we're going to color this part in as well, leaving some areas a little bit lighter, okay? Because that's where the light is hitting it, and we can see a sort of light reflection on top of it. There we go. So we're giving it a hint, giving a hint of detail there. Give it the idea that it has different textures on top and on bottom. Get rid of all those little eraser parts left, and then we're going to add some hair here to his leg. Goes all the way around. They're sort of like the same length as what he has on his back. Then we're going to pull a line here for his foot. And now these triangles will become feet. Rather than being really long triangles, we're going to create feet. And his toes are sort of like his fingers. So we're going to draw a toe here like that. just a little bit thicker than his fingers. Another toe like this. And then it has this foot that comes out like that. And so here's his hind leg here, or the back of his leg, or his ankle, if you will. And now all this stuff, we can get rid of those lines. We don't need those. And we're going to add some curves here for his favorite food again. That nut he likes to smash into ice and make huge cracks with. We're going to color this part in nice and dark. Push that part of the drawing back, and that's what dark patches are. To me, drawing is a lot like sculpting. Whatever's dark is deep, whatever's light is up, right? It's closer to us in a lot of instances. So in the case of this drawing, that's what it should represent. Wherever there are dark holes, well, it represents a hole in the page, so it makes the page seem like there's some volume to it. Even though we are working on a flat surface, the illusion here is to make it look like the surface is 3D. All right, we're going to color in this foot a little bit. And made him notice that I've added the nails. And here to give a 3D look to the toes, we're just going to color the bottom part of them like that. And we're going to add a little bit of a hairline here and color in his leg. Once again, using layered hairs. Just like this. I've been getting a lot of requests on how do I film myself drawing these things, and when I hit 1 million views, which I'm getting pretty close to it, so thanks to all of you guys watching out there. Let's erase these lines. I'm about to hit overall 1 million views of all of my videos combined, and so once I hit that magic 1 million number, I will make a video showing you how I film my stuff. And I'm using a technique that is very simple that anybody can use at home. So you're all going to be able to see how I make these videos. I'll show you step by step how I set up, and then what I use to film, and then maybe what I use to edit and all of that. You'll get to see it throughout. And by the way, you may notice that the video is changing colors here. Well, it's because it's a cloudy day today. And so we have clouds passing by a lot, and that's why my video is changing colors immensely. And I know that there's a way for me to fix this color, but I really don't have the time to make every frame or every part of the video the proper color. So you will see color changes. You can really tell that it's nice and dark now. And I like drawing next to a window because I like working with the daylight. And it gives us really nice light for filming and also for drawing. So when it's nice and sunny, it's a great time to draw. And sadly, today it isn't very sunny. So you may notice now that I'm adding those dark lines on Scrat's back. They're sort of like the wolf we drew a few months ago, or a few weeks ago. And so go check out the wolf if you like. But the black lines are, stem from that wolf. And the wolf has a dark back and then the gray side. And so I think Scrat has a few animals mixed into him. Little hairs there on his leg. And now we're going to color this part of that nut. So we're going to color all of that in the same shade of gray. So I'm going to speed that up a little bit for you. All right. And then we're going to add darker parts under here onto the left side. Far left and far right will be dark. One side is because it's shaded. The other side is because his body is making shadow on that part of the fruit there, or whatever you want to call it, his food. Okay, I'm going to color all that in. And a lot of people ask me, well, how can I interact with you, Paolo? How can I send you email, or how can I ask you questions, whatnot? The best way to do that, guys, is to follow me on Twitter or on Facebook. If you check out my Facebook page called Drawing with Paolo, don't search for Paolo Morrone, search for Drawing with Paolo, and that's where all of my fans are. And you can do the same thing on Twitter. My Twitter name is Paolo Morrone, real simply. And you can follow me there, and then it's the best way to interact. If you have questions, if you have requests. At this exact moment that I'm filming this, I'm no longer taking requests because I still have a heck of a lot of drawings to do for all of you guys out there. But soon enough, I will be opening up the request page again, and then all your requests can be coming through Facebook or Twitter as you wish, and I'll be collecting a whole bunch of other drawings and drawing them for you. All right, so there's that nut pretty much completed here. So I'm going to draw the back foot, and we're going to draw here a little toe, which latches into another toe, and the back of the foot actually, just like that. The other toe is back here, like this. And I think we're not going to draw another. We can't see the third toe. We're going to add some nails and some shadowing, just like we did for the other foot. And this part here is a little bit farther back, so it's behind the nut there, so we need to give the illusion that it's farther behind. All right, so all this stuff here, let's clean that up. Let's work on his really bushy tail. So we need to draw this tail in with much longer hairs than we've used for his body before. I'm going to speed that up because it's pretty simple to draw hairs now. You should know how to do that if you've been watching me for a while. Spiky hair all the way around, and then we're going to color in. There comes another cloud. We're going to color in the whole tail, all nice and gray, just like that. All right. Make sure that we go all the way to the edge. And we're going to clean up this line here and these lines. You may not have the same lines I do, but I tend to clean up those lines as I go along. And then we're going to color in a shadow area here where his tail attaches to his body. It's a little bit darker. And then we're going to draw those sort of raccoon lines around his tail. So these black lines that curve like this, right? So I'm going to curve these lines to show you the angle or the curve that these darker hairy lines need to follow. And so here's one of them. Goes around like this. And another one over here. Nice dark lines all the way across in a nice curved pattern. Just like that. Same thing for here. And we're just going to keep coloring that in and keep it nice and curved. Now the point of the curve is that it looks 3D. If you don't want the 3D look, that's fine. You can draw straight lines, and straight lines will make it a really flat drawing. But if that's the style that you want to give your drawing, then go ahead and do so. All right, guys. So this is Scrat. For those of you out there that wanted Scrat from Ice Age 1 through 3 and etc., I hope you enjoy this drawing. I enjoyed drawing it myself, and I'm going to wish you a great day, and we'll see you in another episode of Drawing with Paolo. See you soon, everybody. Take care. A little bit more down here. Awesome. Bye-bye, guys. There's Scrat. See you soon.